So God of High School ended, and you're probably left with more questions than answers, especially with everything that happened in the last 5 minutes of the finale. More specifically, we saw 4 major storyline developments hinting at a new season and the future of the story. We got a new adventure for Ilpyo, world developments with Mandyuk and Mujin, a new adventure for the main cast, and finally, an ominous message from Taijin. In this video, I'm gonna break down all of these scenes while avoiding major spoilers. And as always, the different parts of this video will be sectioned out, and there should also be timestamps in the pinned comment. As explained by Eunyo in the episode, Ilpyo is actually the protector of the key, and not a normal Chariok user like everyone else. What this means is the key is a fragment of the nine-tailed fox guardian soul, and Ilpyo was chosen as its protector. After Jagal took Ilpyo's key and transformed, he wasn't able to give all of it back to Ilpyo. So after he was defeated, he only gave Ilpyo a fraction of it, and the rest assimilated into the atmosphere. And this is where Ilpyo's journey comes into play. As the key's guardian, he essentially just has to travel around the world searching for fragments of the key. And this was already shown being started later in the episode when Mori sees Ilpyo post something on Instagram with him in a different country. But this is where things get crazy. Ilpyo's journey isn't just limited to Earth or this realm in general. In the rest of the story, Ilpyo has to travel to different realms to collect all of the fragments, and we'll see how this plays out in the next season. By the conclusion of this episode, things were left very unclear with Mujin's position in Korea and the general public's perception of him, but a few important things about this relationship were still shown. The first is, as you should already know, Mujin is already a member of Korea's General Assembly, meaning that he does have some influence over the government, even though it's not really a lot. And in the episode, as he was talking to the commissioners, he stated that one of his goals was to gain even further control of the country by improving his political standing. Unfortunately for Mujin, things didn't go to plan, and as he was having this conversation, Mandyuk formed an agreement with the government officials whilst R was clapping in the audience. And first off, R is the traitor. This should be obvious to most of you at this point. Earlier in the season, during episode 2, I believe, Mujin confirmed that there was a traitor amongst the group, and at this point, with R being affiliated with Mandyuk, it's rather obvious that he was the traitor. And to avoid major spoilers, I'm not going to go any further into details about R, his past, and his motivations, so for now all you need to know is that he is in fact the traitor. And as for Mandyuk, he took the opportunity with all the destruction from the battle to win public favor. When so much of Korea was destroyed, he made the public aware of Nox, but he positioned them as an organization that would help clean up the country after the battle. And at the same time, he framed all the destruction on Mujin's party. And since Mandyuk and the rest of Nox did so much to help Korea, they were viewed as heroes, and this is why Mandyuk was able to sign a deal with the government, gaining even more power. And in the process, Mujin, the commissioners, Mori, Ilpyo, Daiwi, Mira, Sungka, and even Sungyeon were all marked as wanted and were seen as traitors by the public. And after being hounded every day, Mujin eventually got captured by Nox and is now currently imprisoned by them. In the conclusion of the episode, Mori wanted to get his memories back, and to do that he has to travel to his original home of the Sage Realm. He decides that he would go there with Mira and Daiwi, and this part is rather self-explanatory. In the webtoon, the next arc just involves them going along with the other kids from the tournament to explore the Sage Realm. Again, I won't get into any spoilers about what happens in the arc, but essentially a lot more happens when they get there, but you guys can read about that, and I'll eventually make a video explaining all the arcs from the webtoon. And finally, the part that you've all been waiting for, Evil Taijin. Well, actually, it's not really Evil Taijin. Taijin is currently imprisoned by Nox, and he knows exactly why, and he also acknowledges that there's a possibility that he will be turned into some kind of weapon and forced to fight against Mori in the future. This is why he says that even Mori is strong enough to beat him. And as for why he's captured, Taijin is a very special human, and the strongest natural fighter in the verse. He's developed his martial arts to the point where he's actually able to damage and kill gods as a regular human with no Chariot. Due to this fact and his immense power, Nox wants to use him for their own goals, and one of the things that Nox wants to do is make Taijin the next god of combat. And combined with that, Taijin's also currently struggling to resist against power lenderization, so if everything goes according to plan for Nock, he would eventually be forced to fight Mori to the death. So this is why Taijin was portrayed to be the next major villain of the series, and even though we will get to see him in action a bit later in the webtoon, it's actually much later. So for all of you new readers, you're gonna have to wait a long time to see Taijin's full potential. And that's everything that was left unanswered with the ending of the first season of the anime. This video was very spoiler light, but with the season ending, within the next couple videos I'm gonna be going into a lot more details about stuff that happened in the webtoon. If you have any questions about God of High School, or just love it as much as I do, make sure to leave it in the comments, and if you liked the video, drop a like. And to stay up to date with everything God of High School and all my future content, don't forget to subscribe.